These speeches, Nick, are a chance for the mayor to get up, talk about what he's done in the last year, talk about what he hopes to do, I guess, if he does get a new term. So there were a number of issues he got to. What specifically did he say about neighborhood development in this speech?
Well, overall, this speech did sound pretty similar to what he said last year when he was trying to pitch raising the income tax to voters in the room. This year, he tried to lay out what is he going to do with that income tax increase. And he also wanted to address the issue, like you said, of neighborhood development. So one thing that Jackson said was that the kinds of investment you can do in certain neighborhoods in the city don't work in other ones. And as you can hear in this clip, here's how he addressed that.
Substantial progress has been made. It has been made in neighborhoods like Tremont, Ohio City, Detroit Shoreway, Huff, downtown, University Circle, Shaker Square, Larchmere, just to name a few. But it's not enough. It's not enough. More needs to be done.
Now, Jackson spoke then about a plan that he laid out last year where he will be taking $25 million out of a $100 million bond issuance to put toward neighborhoods where you don't have as much investment. The idea is to leverage private investment along with that public investment for things like loans, for new development and businesses, lending for rehabbing homes. That sort of development, he says, does not happen as readily, and in certain neighborhoods he wants to put public and private money together for it.
Yeah, and a part of developing these neighborhoods, obviously, is cracking down also on crime. What did the mayor say about crime, and what did he say about the consent decree? Did he mention it at all?
He didn't say too much about the consent decree, except to say there are some things that the city is doing well on, others the city needs improvement, and he said constitutional policing that respects people's rights is essential to what the city wants to do. But he did focus a lot more on crime. In particular, he spoke about a certain unit called the NICE unit that stands for, I believe, Neighborhood Impact and Community Engagement.
Okay.
Here's what he said about the NICE unit.
The NICE unit will be included in this year's safety enhancement budget. Now, this NICE unit, the NICE unit will help us and allow for us to concentrate efforts in neighborhoods where there are guns and violence and drugs and gang activity.
So this is a part of the city's approach to crime. The city is also going to be hiring more police officers as part of the increase in the income tax.
It's often talked about in battling crime, also focusing on education, giving kids something to do. What did the mayor say about the schools?
Well, he said a little bit about the schools, not too much. He reminded people where we've been with the schools, that Democrats and Republicans came together to support the Cleveland Transformation Plan, which was several years ago now. And he also said that the decision by voters in the last election to support renewing the school levy was, he at least interpreted as a sign of confidence that voters have in the schools. And he also said something really remarkable. He talked about the stress that children face when they experience violence and some of the harsh conditions that people are living in. Here's what he said about that.
Many of them have witnessed, and in many cases, many of them have participated in violence. Death, and this is a hard thing to say, but it's a reality. Death is never too far from them as they witness and they go to the funerals of their friends and they know others who have been shot or victims of crime.
So he was saying this is a pressure that is put on kids. He even elsewhere in the speech said that it's like post-traumatic stress disorder that children experience from having these kinds of experiences of violence. So he kind of talked in general about how can the schools address those kinds of issues that kids face in Cleveland.
So these speeches often give the mayor a chance to get up and talk about, his priorities, but this is an election year, so we have to look at the speech in that light. What did the mayor's opponents have to say?
Well, exactly. The mayor is running for a fourth four-year term. I believe this is unprecedented in Cleveland history. He's already been mayor for 12 years. If he won re-election, he'd be mayor for 16 years. One of the people challenging him is City Councilman Jeff Johnson. And Johnson largely criticized the mayor for, in his words, sort of taking too long to address those kinds of problems like neighborhood development. And we have a clip of that. Let's listen to what he said.
I expected him to be able to say the things that many of us are saying. The question is his urgency. What Mayor Jackson said today versus what he will do tomorrow is really the issue for me. 12 years. Is it too little, too late?
Councilman Jeff Johnson, just one of the many possible contenders for mayor. Nick Castele, thanks so much.